In recent years, there has been an extremely large boom in content based on the work of the author H.P. Lovecraft. Lovecraft was a horror writer in the early 1900s, with his most popular works being his mythos on Cthulhu. These works centered on the idea that an ancient alien deity named Cthulhu was sent to Earth and is in a great sleep under the ocean. One day, it is prophesied that he will one day rise from the ocean and take over the world, spreading evil and madness throughout. Now, you may be wondering why so many works nowadays are based on these stories. Well, that's very simple. The stories themselves are not copyrighted. So here we are with a prime example of people taking advantage of this for the better with today's game, Cthulhu Saves the World. Originally released on the Xbox 360 Marketplace back in December of 2010, an enhanced version of this game has been re-released on both the 360 and PC in July of this year. So, how does this strange premise for a game hold up? Well, let's take a look and find out. Before I begin though, I should preface this video by saying this. There is some discrepancy over how to properly pronounce the name of this deity. Some people say Cthulhu, and some people say Cthulhu. However, upon reading up on the mythos, I found out that the name is pronounced in an alien language, and the closest that the human tongue can pronounce is roughly Cthulhu. So, in other words, it really doesn't matter how you say it, because no matter what, you're saying it wrong. With this in mind, I'm just going to call in whatever I want for the remainder of this video. So, this game starts off with Wednesday here, rising from the ocean, finally ready to take over the world. However, upon rising, a strange holy man curses him, causing him to wash up on a nearby shore and lose his powers. At this point, the narrator explains that in order for Billy to regain his powers, he must become a true hero. Unfortunately for the narrator, he heard that, so he goes off on a quest to become a hero in order to destroy the world. How delightfully ironic. On the way, he runs into many people who, for some strange reason, decide to help him with his quest. He first finds a young girl named Umi, who decides to help him because she is attracted to him, although Ralph here insists this is on a strictly Rockstar Groupie relationship. A living sword named Sharp, a friendly necromancer named October, a space cat, an insane cleric, who it is slightly implied is Santa Claus, and even a dragon. These members all have their own specialties in combat and can be swapped out when not in combat. In case you haven't noticed by now, this game is set up very similarly to an old school RPG. You get to explore a decently sized map in which there are some towns and even some dungeons to explore. As you traverse the map, along with many other areas, there will be a certain number of encounters with enemies. These encounters all occur randomly, and unfortunately for you, you cannot run away, even if you want to. All of these encounters have a varying amount of enemies, and the enemies themselves vary depending on your current location. For instance, if you're by a beach, you may have to fight a giant enemy crab. Although unfortunately there is no weak point for massive damage. Or you may find yourself in a cemetery fighting off mummies and vampires. There are actually a surprising number of variations in all of these enemies, which can lead to you having to change up your strategies from fight to fight. Overall, there are 10 chapters in this game, and just beating the normal campaign will run you somewhere around 5 to 6 hours, of course depending on how much exploration you do. After you beat the game the first time, there are 4 other bonus modes to be played. The first bonus mode is named Cthulhu's Angels. Like I said, I'll call it whatever I want. This mode has you progressing through the same campaign as before, but this time you star as October. October wants to do good with her life, but she feels shunned due to her being a necromancer. One day, she receives a message by little Jimmy, who tells her to save the world for him. Feeling that this would be a good opportunity to show that she's a good person, she sets out to do just that. This campaign has you meeting up with different party members, and it even has completely different dialogue, hence greatly adding to the replay value. The second bonus mode is Highlander mode, in which there truly can be only one, as you are only allowed one party member in each encounter at a time, with a great increase in experience gained. The third bonus mode is Score Attack, in which you gain points for beating bosses while under-leveled. And the final mode is Overkill mode, in which you and your entire party hit the max level of 40 in one battle. Now Now for the reviewing. As far as the graphics go in this game, they're really nothing spectacular, but this being a callback to classic RPGs, what the hell do you expect? Okay, while the graphics are basic, there is a surprising amount of detail in the enemies, and even the characters themselves. The gameplay is also fairly basic, but it works well in the context of the game. The navigation of the map is extremely easy, and it gets even easier when you get your dragon, but the combat has a bit more depth to it. This is your standard turn-based system, with you and your party selecting moves first, and then you and the computer automatically duke it out. Once you get a feel for the strength and weaknesses of the enemies, along with which moves are most effective in your party, the battles can eventually flow extremely smoothly and sometimes end very quickly. At the end of each battle, all members gain full HP and differing amount of magic power, which is used for special attacks such as power moves or moves that are used cooperatively with other members. To be quite honest, there's not a whole lot of bad things I can say about this game, but if I had to choose, there is one aspect that's a little bit annoying. It seems that throughout the game, the enemies get harder faster than you and your party gets better. For instance, once you finish one area and move on to the next one, you may find that you are underpowered and may proceed to get your ass handed to you. Now, this is nothing that a little grinding can't fix, but this can drag the game out a little longer than necessary. But in hindsight, this is an RPG, and sometimes grinding is to be expected. So, in conclusion, if you like old school RPGs, are a fan of Lovecraftian lore, or just want to try out something a little different, I recommend this game to you. You can find this game on Steam or the Xbox Live Indie section for a whopping $3. So until next time, this has been E-Dog saying, Fifth glue wagulf wanaf Cthulhu Riley waganagol forthagen. Well, I tried. See you next time.